Welcome to this video. I'm going to be talking a bit about hiking in both Yosemite as well as Zion National Parks in this video. So this past May, my husband and I went to Zion National Park. It's been a trip we've been looking forward to doing for quite some time. And last year we did the infamous Half Dome hike, um, and this year's plan was to do Angel's Landing. And so we're going to be talking to you about those two major hikes, but not only that, but also um, the other hikes that we did in the parks.
It's important to note that all the hikes that we completed were done in the summer.
So without further ado, we're going to jump into explaining how we went about booking our hikes and everything, where we stayed, and also just how to use Recreation.gov's website. So that's up next. So when you're on Recreation.gov, if you want to apply for a permit, I would suggest that you have a look here. So the permits that we're thinking about booking are for, say, Half Dome or Zion. Let's think about Zion. You click on basically the permit section, and you can log in, or it will request that you log in afterwards. So you can see I'm logged in there, and you can search up here where you want to go to. But there are, as you can see, a lot of them listed here. Okay, so I'm just going to type in Zion, for example. You'll see they come up here. You'll see, like, for camping and day use, everything to Zion. You'll see activities and experiences. And so for Angel's Landing, like the next one that's available under permits would be hiking in the fall, basically hikes from September 1st. You basically go in there and you could apply for the lottery. Okay, so there's a future lottery. So they'll tell you when it opens. So July 1st will open. So that's when you could basically click here and apply. It will open up, and it tells you the dates as well. So you could know, like, okay, I know I want to hike next year. So which date you need to apply by. And yeah, and it just explains how the lottery works. Okay, and there's quite a bit of information there. So yeah, it is important because they do check up on whether you have a permit or not, because a lot of people hiking the trail in general, but when you get to a certain point, the trails kind of divide up, and the Angel's Landing one goes in the one direction, and so at that point they do have a ranger. Okay, and the same for Half Dome.
Speaking about camping, I'm going to just mention that the parks, the campsites within the parks are really, really cool. They have this, you can see a campfire, place to make a fire. And so, yeah, you can set up, and it's usually pretty big. You can see there's a picnic table as well, and see the dark skies at night. Let's talk hiking Zion National Park. We camped near the east entrance to Zion National Park at Zion Family Ranch. And they have like this lake in the middle. You can use the boats for free, and the geese just end up there. So we saw them as little baby geese. So we stayed outside the park because in this case there aren't that many campgrounds in Zion. So we booked on Hip Camp. So this campsite is in Glendale, and Glendale is on the one side of the park, and then there's another town on the other side of the park, which is called Springdale. So they're about an hour apart. And Springdale is closer to the other visitor center and closer to a lot of things. That it's much easier to get around, but Springdale is a lot more expensive to book in. So that's why people do look at the other side of the park and rather driving the hour through the park from the one side to the visitor center on the side. So as you can see, as you're driving through the park from Glendale to get to the visitor center near the south entrance, which is about a 30-minute drive, it's pretty scenic. You can see the red kind of rocks, and so it gives you a good idea of what Zion looks like. And then you end up going through tunnels. There's a Mount Carmel tunnel. That's a bit of a longer one. There's two tunnels that you go through. And you can just see the beautiful view as you like exit the tunnel. It's really, really pretty. And but yeah, I think it just gets better from there onwards, because when you actually do the hikes, you just see so much more because you're immersed in it. And yeah, we really enjoyed the hikes and the views from the top. Now, once you reach a visitor center, you'll end up having to park and take a shuttle. So we went pretty early in the day, but so much time was taken up with driving through the park and then having breakfast and then getting our shuttle. So this is a shuttle stop kind of picture basically to see what it looks like. So you take it from the visitor center, yeah, and these signs basically show you like where the shuttles stop, and they shuttles like all the time. It's really convenient and really useful. So after you've done your hike, you basically come back to the visitor center, and then you're able to on the bus basically because you can't drive through the park. Only the shuttle buses can drive through the park. So if you're going to the Narrows, you would go all the way to stop 9 and get off there. And if you're going to um, hike like Angel's Landing, like that's like stop 6. So if you're going to hike the Narrows, I would suggest that you go to Springdale, which is right outside the south entrance, visitor center, and basically rent shoes from some of the hiking stores that are there. Um, because they have shoes and socks that are really good. We did the Narrows on our first day, and we didn't want to get our own shoes wet because it's very rocky in the water, and so it is good to have good soles on your water shoes. And if you're gonna hike like Angel's Landing, you don't want wet shoes the next day. It's not gonna be comfortable. It's not gonna be good. So we rented these water shoes that could get wet, and it was actually really good. I really enjoyed using them. They were good quality, and as you can see, we had to walk through the water. Sometimes the water got pretty high, and we had to like hold our backpacks in the air. I had a water, like a one of those hydro bags. So yeah, I didn't have to worry as much with lifting my bag higher in the air. But yeah, this hike is really beautiful, and like do some research on the Narrows because it's pretty long hike. It could be like 8 hours even. We just did 4 hours, and we got to see quite a bit. But I think that you would see so much more when you have a look at this map. You'll see there's so much to do. We actually stopped by Ordville Canyon, where you see it's like after 2 hours, and we felt like then it was 2 hours back, so it's like 4 hours, 4.4, 4.5 hours, but then you're gonna have to hike all that way back. And it's just such a pleasant hike because it's mostly like in the water and in the shade, and so if it's very hot, like it was for us, we didn't feel heat at all, because we were in the water and in the shade. So that was really, really nice. I think that's why we enjoyed this hike so much. It was just so unique and different from every other hike we've ever done. You're hiking through the canyon. It's beautiful and it's cool, and refreshing. So you do get tired after a while, but not because of like heat, but because of like wading through the water. Next up, we have the Angels Landing hike, which was at stop 6 on the shuttle list. And as you can see, um, it's some of the views from the top are magnificent. Similar to kind of views that you get from Half Dome and from some of the hikes in Yosemite, which are go pretty high, like Glacier's Point. It's just like bird's eye views of like the floor, the valley floor beneath you. Along the way, you get to see some beautiful flowers. The cacti have these beautiful pink and yellow flowers. And yeah, so it's a very scenic hike all the way up. I would say it's steep, but we didn't find it that scary because it's just that the path is really well maintained. You can see evidence of that everywhere, so you feel secure because the chains are there. And yeah, we didn't feel like it was scary at all. Once we got to the top, we saw some chipmunks and squirrels, but the chipmunks were a lot more like, you know, steadfast and excited for food. My husband had nuts, and of course, they were very excited about the nuts. So that's why you see them here sitting on his lap because they got that confident. They didn't even get one crumb from him. Yeah, never feed animals. When you're out there, you don't want them to rely on you, on humans for food. That's the Angel's Landing hike. We'll be doing a part two of this video where I'll cover more about Yosemite and our hikes in Yosemite as well as Half Dome. Thanks for watching. Bye.